Hello. I'm going to do this demonstration for Jim. This is a shot that he took that I did a little edit for him before, and I wanted to show him how it was done. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn these water drops into something that looks more like blood. Give it more of a sinister look. So what I do first is I create a new layer, an adjustment layer, and I use photo filters. And I will choose a red photo filter. I will turn off the preserve luminosity, and in this case, or at least for now, I'm going to turn this all the way up. Now I'm going to invert the mask so it's all black. I used Control I, and you can also just go into under image and invert as well. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dodge tool, and I have it set for shadows because it's a true black, a deep black. So if you use midtones or highlights, nothing will happen. And I have it set to 18%, and you can adjust that accordingly. Right now I have the size set to about 9 pixels. Depends on the image size and the size of the droplets as far as what you want to use. I got the hardness at about a 92%, and that works good on this one, I think. You can adjust that a little bit however you see fit. So I'm going to zoom in, and take one of these drops, and I'm just going to start dodging. And I'm using a pen, so it's set to where it can go with a thin line or a thick line, depending on the pressure I'm using. I find that's really good under situations like this. It's really hard to do with a mouse. I'm not going to do a real perfect job. If I was doing this more for real, I might spend a little more time and try to get those edges just right. But for this presentation, I'm just going to come in here and do this. And I'm lifting my pen up several times on a lot of these, so it'll just keep adding lightness to it and creating little dots in there. And for those, it works pretty well. And one of the areas that's going to be a little difficult is here where you have the light kind of going through the droplet and creating a projection. And what I think I'm going to do in this case is first I'm just going to make this red. You can make maybe a red. You could turn that white area back there red, or I think in this case, because I'm going to try and make this so dark, I'm just going to eliminate it. And there I will just go on the image layer itself, and I'm just going to use the content aware brush tool, and it's pretty much already set to a pretty good size. So you see, I'm just going to go in here and kind of get rid of that, and it did a pretty decent job. And you could do that throughout all of these if you want to. Sometimes you might want to make it red, sometimes you might want to do some other things, but in this case I think that works. The other thing I'm going to do and is do another adjustment layer. Whoops, wrong one. And I'm just going to use some brightness contrast. You could have used levels or whatever you want. And I'm going to go ahead and delete the layer mask. Come in here. Excuse me. Add to selection. I right click, add to selection. Now it's selected those. And I just made a new layer mask and it automatically put it there. And with this, I can take the brightness, make them darker, add a little contrast, till I get it about where I want it. probably somewhere about in there. I'd probably do a little more tweaking with the color and so forth to get it more like what I wanted, and some of these drops don't look that great. I would probably spend a little more time making some of these look a little better. But for the purposes of this presentation, I think that works good. And there you go, Jim. Now you can see how that's done, and feel free to use this technique.